what we are doing in Blender or any other 3D software is that we are creating CGI images. Okay, CGI means computer generated imagery. Okay, that's what we are doing. Okay, there is computer assisted design, and there are so many other applications for 3D applications. But in general, in within an umbrella term, we can call everything as CGI. Okay, and we have been seeing CGI in all big budget movies, at all uh, Hollywood movies, even in now Indian movies, there's a lot of CGI. There are so many things that people using computers to create. If you create a structure, if you create a shape using a computer, okay, that's called as CGI. Okay, so you might have seen this film. You might have seen this dragon, and this is the person who kind of played this dragon. Okay, all this was happened. All this was able to do using the technology called CGI, and Blender, which we are talking today, is very well capable of doing all these things. Okay, the capacity will vary, but it will. So computer engineering is majorly is the result of a computer that is to create or contribute image. I mean, either you can create the entire image using computer, or you can like make a little part of the image using computer. For example, if there is an actor and if you want to have a metal arm like the Winter Soldier, probably you can create only that metal arm using computer. So that's right. So when I was telling about before uh, about the thought process, I just want to ask you one thing: is that what makes a CGI believable? Can you tell me that? I mean, or what? How exactly? Okay, fine. CGI is basically creating an image and allowing you to interact with it. You are able to see that, right? So, for example, if you are taking a photo of an apple, you need an apple there. But for CGI, you don't need it there. So, can anybody tell me how exactly you see an apple? How exactly you understand that it's an apple? What's the basis of seeing? I mean, everything starts from there. Everything starts from seeing. Everything starts from seeing and understanding. I see and understand that there is a phone here. Then I can go about and create that phone in my computer. That's fine. So let's that what is the basis of seeing? How exactly you see something and understand that this is a phone or this is a camera? How do you do that? Can anybody tell me? Don't go to the science of it, but in generally, like how you do that. All right, maybe I was not clear. I was a little because I'll go to that and I'll tell you. So we see something by two things. Okay, essentially is that when you are looking at something, we understand the shape of it first of all. Okay, so if you're looking at a glass, we know that okay, glass. This is the shape of the glass that we know, and then the next thing is that how exactly light is interacting with that shape, right? So these are the two main things that you need to understand what is it. Am I making sense here? Okay. So if assume that you don't have one of these, I mean, you know how light interacts with this. I mean, for example, for this glass, you see only this small portion of the glass. Would you be make out that this is a glass? No, you won't be. So, for example, if I kind of take this controller and move it right here like this, you see only a part of it. So you won't be able to see that this is a game controller. But if I show here like this, then you know that it's a game controller because you know the shape of the game controller. Okay, and it goes for the everything. So you need to understand the shape and assume that you are seeing that. Okay, assume that look at this. Look at the first image. You are looking at only the shape. If you look at only the shape, do you think that the silhouette of it, do you think that you will be able to understand this is a glass? You
No,
can say
minor
that it's a
features
glass.
will be missing.
Huh?
No, minor shapes will be missing because of lack of
Minor
light.
shapes will be. Okay, so Sabirajan says yes, yes, uh, but how do you say that that's a steel glass or a glass or a plastic glass? How do you say that? The experience of looking at a glass it is complete with the material also, right? Like there are steel tumblers, there are glasses, there are plastic glasses, there are paper glasses. I can create anything or I can take anything and I can create only the shape of it, but you wouldn't be able to tell me which material is that one, what is it. So if you don't know what material it is, the experience is not complete, right? So basically, if you cut down all the scientific jargon, how exactly the optic nerve works, how the brain works and everything, how the light works, if you cut down all that, these are the two things that we have to consider when you take it. So this is true for seeing, this is true for photography, this is true for CGI.
So, but all
So
these
even in
depends on the light, how it interacts with the material, right? I mean, you say that if it's a steel
exactly,
glass or a plastic
exactly,
glass, that's what you're trying.
exactly. So yeah, see, fine. I mean, yeah. Now this is a problem when talking to scientists, a group of scientists, because we always go deeper. I say that okay, fine, don't go that deeper. Assume that that's a glass. I mean, it's a glass. It's a transparent glass. We already know that's a transparent glass. But how do you know that it's a transparent glass? Because light can pass through it, right? I mean, if it was a metal glass, then light cannot pass. It will reflect. Then we will know that okay, it's a metal glass, right? So and then from the complete 100% transparency to 100% reflectance, in between there are a million different things that the light can do to a material. Okay, it can absorb, it can split the wavelengths, it can give color. So all these things. I mean, when we are taking a photo of these things, what we are trying to do is that we are trying to capture the reality which is out there. Okay, we are trying to capture the light which is interacting with that glass, and we are trying to capture it. When we are looking at it, when you're seeing it, we are trying to capture it. But when you're doing a CGI, we are trying to create it. That's the difference. There is no light inside computer unless you put it there. Okay, so exactly. Now think about it. If I create a shape in computer and I given enough properties to that shape so that it will interact with the light in a certain way, do you think that I can recreate that material inside computer? Okay, this is how you should think about doing CGI. Okay, these are the main two things. I mean, most often when we think about creating this, we only think about creating things. I mean, only the shape of it. That's only one part of it. And the second part is how exactly the light is going to be created. So without these two things,
Okay.
is not, yeah. Kalevedi ma'am, I mean, do you have any question?
Shading.
Yeah, I mean, I'll come to that. I'll come to that. So shading, what is shading? Shading is again, it's giving a like kind of color, right? How exactly this color come to be? Because light interacts in a certain way. That's why we are seeing the color, right? So if you break it down, everything comes down to this. And now we will go to the techniques. So we already know how to take a photograph of this. That's fine. I mean, if there are any photographers in the group, you know that you arrange your aperture, you arrange your thing and everything. You capture the light perfectly the way that you want to be. You arrange color. You all do all that. When you look at it, your brain will do all the things. You don't have to do anything. When you create it, we have to give calculations to the computer to behave in certain way. Okay, when I am creating a metal like this, when I am creating a metal like this, I need to, first of all, I need to create a circle, and then I should give enough calculations to the computer to tell that if a light hits from that direction, please reflect this to this direction. Okay, so this calculations, don't worry, I can see Ashwin worrying already. There is no mathematics, okay, unless you want to be. I mean, there are programs which use mathematics, but in Blender, at least, it's very easy. For all these 3D software, what they are doing is that they are creating packages to create all this. I mean, there will be certain packages to create a shape. There will be certain package to create a material reflective. There will be certain other package to create a material transmittive. So you kind of mix match everything and you kind of generate what you want to generate. That's how we how to approach Blender or any other CGI software. That's a thought process behind it. Okay. Once you understand this, then you will understand the workflow. Once you understand the workflow, then you will not be confused on what to do when. All right. I mean, this is very important. Write it down if you want to, or make a t-shirt out of it. That's okay. That's also cool. Okay. Fine. Now, let us go to the techniques. So we have already divided the process into creating the shapes and creating the light interactions. We have already divided the shapes into two. Now, here, okay, if you want to create the shape, In a 2D thing, only you want to do is that you draw, simple. Whenever you take a piece of paper, you take a pencil, you draw it. Forget it, its shape is done. But in 3D environment, there are several ways to do it. Okay, there is something called as modeling. Okay, I'll tell you what modeling is. But modeling is basically, for example, taking small squares or triangles and building one over another to create a shape. That's modeling. But I'll go in deep now. Whether there is one thing, and then there is sculpting. You know what is sculpting is? Like, what is sculpting? Anybody can tell me what is sculpting in general, normal life?
Giving shape, like making sculpture.
Exactly, making sculpture. So what we do to make sculpture is that we take clay or cement or anything, and we kind of sculpture it to kind of create a shape, right? We can do the same in 3D also. Okay, in modeling, we will start with nothing and we will try to build one over another and we'll create shape. In sculpting, we'll take a bunch of digital clay. I mean, there will be one big sphere. There is nothing else. And you can kind of drag the sphere one side. You can kind of make those things and then create a shape out of it. That's also possible. That's sculpting. Then there is called something called as simulations. Can anybody tell me what is simulations?
Like making the same kind of thing, like if some project is there, making that kind of, if some nature, if we have something in the nature, creating it by hand, something like that.
That's the entire thing, right? I mean, that's what we are trying to do. I mean,
Okay.
we are trying to create everything, right? And why
Sorry.
a simulation separately inside this entire simulation?
Simulation is, we can say, the behavior of a material or something. I mean, talking about more scientifically. Sorry, again.
Ah, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. Now, from now onwards, you can be scientific. No issues. Don't ask me how computer works or anything. I don't know. So, all right. So, yeah, I'll tell you what simulation. Simulation is something like, for example, um, we can create only one of the material. Okay, assume that you have a very big field, football field full of footballs. Okay, a big football field full of footballs. It's like millions of footballs. Either you can create all those million footballs by hand and put it there, or you create one football and create copies of it. And create copies of it and give the real uh, physics of the football. If you put a football like this, it will bounce. Okay, you can give those properties. You can give the calculations of that properties to the one football that you have created, and make 1,000 copy of it. Put everything simultaneously, and everything will bounce. Okay, that's one way to say it. Another way is that assume that you want to create a very big river. I mean, very big river, which is like as big as Vaige River. You want to create that. So either you can like create the entire water and give water material to it and everything, so it will not be moving, or else you can create one plane or one small thing, and we can tell it to create water. We can give enough material, enough calculations to that create water. It will create water. That's like magic. Okay. So, and all those, I mean, unfortunately, I will not be going that much on to simulation in this particular thing, but that is very interesting. If you guys want to look at, I will give you some tutorial links and everything. But I will when we are really bored, we will do something on simulations. Okay. So, and then assume that you want to make fire. The fire works in erratic ways, right? Fire works in erratic. For example, you all might have seen RRR. In that movie, that train wreck sequence when both of them were rescuing that boy from the water. There's a lot of fire in the scene. I mean, yeah, fire is everywhere in that movie, but there's a lot of fire in that particular scene. All of those fires are created using CGI. Many of those fires, not all of them. Many of those fires are created using CGI. Now, the problem with fire or water or anything like that is that it is so erratic that we cannot kind of create all the frames of it. I mean, we don't know what the fire or water will do in the next frame or in the next minute, right? So it's so erratic. So what we do is that we simulate fire. We just tell them that, okay, bhai, dekho, this is your viscosity. I mean, if you are making water, this is your viscosity, this is your dampness, this is the molecular weight that you have. Now go flow. It will flow. Okay, so it's so computer intensive, but it will flow. All right. So that simulation. You'll come into that later. And now the last thing is procedural. That is also a very interesting thing. Procedural is like it's more like modeling only, but instead of creating individual things one over another and we are creating it manually, we are giving an equation, and the equation will create the procedural shape. For example, you know how a sine wave look like, right? Okay, so if you want to create a sine wave, either you can take one point and draw the sine wave like this, that's going to be modeling because you are making everything by hand, or else you can put sine wave equation to the computer, to the program, and the program will create a sine wave for you, right? So that is procedural. So if you are making something by process, it's procedural. If you're modeling something, then it is, if by hand with manually, then it is modeling. So there are two different things. Now procedural is very interesting because that's how we kind of create small details on thing. I mean, it's virtually it is impossible to create all the small details. If you're creating a car or something, then it's very difficult to create all small details on the car. So we'll do procedure to create that. I'll show you how exactly we'll do that. Okay, so now considering I have put this into several shapes, several steps, but you have to keep in mind that it's not going to be that we will start modeling after sculpting. Even in real life, we are doing everything together, right? I mean, it's not that we will be do one after another, isn't it? So we'll do everything together. Uh, in certain cases, you might have to do sculpting and modeling. On certain cases, you have to only use sculpting. Certain cases, you will do a model and then simulate it. I mean, it's all mixed. So it's not that this is better and this is lower or anything. Everything is complements each other, and this is all there. This is a different ways to create a shape. That's all I am saying now. We'll go into details about that. So, okay. I mean, there is no point in asking any doubt here because I'm sure that you have a lot of doubt. We'll come back to it. Okay. All right. So now, second thing, light. All right. So this is what ma'am was saying before. I mean, when we think about how exactly light is interacting with the object, there are three things that we have to we have to kind of optimize to get the correct light interaction. Okay. One is shading. Shading means giving color, giving transparency, giving translucency, giving reflection, and everything. That's shading. That's very self-evident. You all know what shading is. Okay. Next is texturing. Texturing is like giving small patterns in the model. Okay, that small patterns can be created using modeling also. You can create it there, or else you can kind of create using a texture. I mean, you can, for example, if you want to, if assume that you have a bottle, and on the bottle you have a sticker, and that sticker is going to be a texture, right? So that the sticker is going to be a texture, bottle is going to be have colors and everything. That's attained by shading, and then the sticker is going to be a texture, and combining everything together, okay, with a proper kind of samples and everything. I mean, I'll come to that. Is rendering. Rendering is when we kind of mix everything together to create a final image. Okay, I have put it as a part of the light because that's where all the calculation happens, right? So what rendering does is that it will take the texture that put on a subject, it will take the shade which is put on a subject, and it will apply to the shape that we have already created.
Excuse
And
me,
then
sir.
you, yes,
Texturing can be applicable to glass also, right? Only the
yes, yes,
thing which is,
yes,
it's
yes,
whether it is
yes.
rough or smooth or like that.
Exactly. Yes, yes, yes. So the thing is that most of the thing that's texturing and shading is going hand in hand. it's more like it's equivalent to what I was saying about procedural modeling and modeling. So anything which we can attain with shading can be attained with texturing also, but texturing is typically when we kind of take up some kind of an image or a texture, and we are trying to give details to the materials with that texture, with that image. Okay, like that. I mean, for example, if you want to give a color to a glass, either I can create, I can, it's like either I can kind of make the glass in red color. Okay, you have seen red glasses all over the place, or else I can take a red paper, transparent red paper, and stick onto that glass. The glass will become red. So consider like that. Shading is something that where we kind of give that entire material one shade, or texturing is where we kind of take something like a picture or a design and we apply it on the material. Either way, it will change how the material is interacting with the lights, and rendering kind of makes everything together, and makes it a single picture or a movie or anything. Okay, fine. All right, anything?
Is shadow and shading is different, or
No. Shadow and shading is not different. Shadow is a byproduct of shading. Okay, shadow, because the light is there, and if it is 100% transparent, then there is not going to be any shadow, right? Okay, I mean, there is not going to be, there is going to be caustic shadow, but that's a different kind of thing. But there is not going to be any shadow. If it is 100% opaque, then there is going to be shadow. So basically, shadow is a byproduct of texture, of shading or texture, basically. Okay, all right. Anything?
So could you repeat what you said about 100% optic?
Okay, I was answering to Ashwin, right? That's one. Okay. So what he was asking, what Ashwin was asking is that is shadow, for example, everything have a shadow, right? All the things have a shadow. Is shadow a part of shading? That's what he was asking. I was telling him that shadow is not a part of shading; it's a byproduct of shading. Okay. So if something is 100% transparent, then it's not going to cast any shadows. It's transparent. Shadows need no shadows. If there is 100% opaque, then there is shadow. Okay. So basically, shadows are a byproduct of shading and texturing. That's also a very important part of CJ. Now, yeah, fine. I'll come over to that later. Okay, so these are the, and this is how I need to kind of look on everything. So now, whenever what I do is that, I mean, I started learning Blender maybe up 3 or 4 years back only. I'm not that experienced in Blender, but even then I can make things. What I do is that when I'm looking at something new or something interesting, I always think to myself how exactly I will make in Blender or in any software. That's the kind of thought process that I always do. I don't end up making it. I don't make everything. I'll make something which is interesting, but I'll look at everything and I'll think how I will make it, and I'll devise a strategy for that. So I want you to do that also. Okay, if you look at a pen and then actually then you need to kind of at this moment, if I stop the class now, then you need to kind of look at the pen and should be thinking in a way that what is the shape of it and what is the light interaction of it. Okay, now start thinking, start looking at materials in that way. That's very fun and very interesting. For example, if I look at this remote, then probably what can enemy tell me what is how, can enemy kind of tell me how exactly you will break this down to these two different parts. You know, like how a normal remote looks like. I should, or anybody you can go.
first thing is, I mean, the outer structure, preferably, and then the
Okay.
inner, that black display, and
Okay.
I mean the other different shapes that we have. First, we need to create the complete shape, and then probably we may add all the material.
Okay. So how I will look at it is that that's almost right. How I will look at it is that this is a square to start with. Okay, and the square have a small curvature on the top. This have a depth. So if I kind of keep it like this is the z direction, this is the y direction, this is the x direction. Okay, so x, y, and z. Z direction, it is taller. X direction, it's there. Y direction is shorter. And then there is a small bend here. This is for the shape. And now for the materials, there is a black color material. There is a reflective material. There is a white reflective material. There is a golden reflective materials. There are buttons which are white and green, which is not reflective, right? So we kind of divide this into different ways. So now,
Sir, will the slide will be shared to us after the class?
I mean, there is nothing much in the slide, but I can share you. That's fine.
Thank you.
Okay. So another thing is that, so what are the tools that we have to create all these materials? That's the important thing. Now we have so many 3D applications. Okay. So many, we cannot even count that many 3D applications. You can, if you want, you can also create a 3D application. You are engineers. You can. It's easy to do. You can also create a 3D application, but may not be everything. May not be as feature intensive as other one. So, for example, if you consider this software here, the ZBrush, this is exclusively for sculpting. We can do only sculpting. You cannot do anything else. You can do a little bit of shading and rendering, but it's mainly for sculpting. Okay. Autodesk Maya is mainly for computer-aided design where we create buildings, mission parts, and everything. Okay. 3D Max is mainly for VFX. This is the software that the movie industry uses. Everybody in the movie they're basically and video games. They mainly use 3D Max. Okay, like that. And if you look at V-Ray, V-Ray is only for rendering. It can do a little bit of other things, but it's only for rendering. Blender, okay, is a jack of everything. It can do everything. It can do a little bit of sculpting. It can do it. It can do modeling. It can do shading, texturing, and everything. It's really good at that also, but not up to that mark of a software which is specialized to doing that. But there are so many TV shows and so many short films and everything are still using Blender, and there are games which is created out of Blender. And I'll give you a few short films which is created out of Blender basically. So uh, Blender is an open source software. This is free and this is going to be free forever. That's their motto. Okay. So now the headquarters of Blender is in Netherlands, and they make short films basically. That's their primary thing. How they do is that they come up with a new short film which is very high quality, and to do that they develop their software. All right, there are so many soft films that come out of them from Blender Studios, and some of them are really good. To make them, they improve their software, and they give the software for free. Okay. I started using Blender when it was Blender version 1.7. Now it's been like Blender version 3.3. There are so many improvements along the way. Now the current Blender version is 3.3. I assume that you guys have downloaded that and installed in your computer. Have you already? Anybody you haven't done
Yes,
that?
sir.
Yes, sir.
Help with doing.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool, nice, great. Now another thing. Yeah, I'll come to that. Before that, and this is the person who created Blender. His whole name is Tom Rosendahl, and he doesn't charge anything for Blender. Blender is usually working on donations from other people. I mean, even other big companies like Microsoft and Google are also partners with Blender, and they will donate them some money to Blender, and Blender is working like that. And then there is a very big community. If you start learning Blender, you will get tutorials every day. There is a Blender is since it is free, a lot of people are doing that, and a lot of people have created different ways to do things. So another thing that I want to tell you at this point is that when we create something in 3D, there are more than one ways to do the same thing. Okay, something which I do now may not be there could be an easy way to do that like down the line. So probably somebody else will come up with that easy way and let me know, and then we'll adapt that to my workflow. That's how the Blender community goes. It's actually very good. All right, so this is all I want to tell you about the about the software and the thought process and the things and everything. Now we'll go to the software. Before that, do you have any doubts or anything? Great. So now, important thing. What will we need? I mean, I already told you that we need a keyboard with a number part. When I said keyboard with a number part, this is something like this. This is the number part here. Do we have that? Okay. If not, that's fine. I'll tell you how exactly we can simulate it. That's fine. Then you need
No,
a.
sir.
That's fine. Do you have a keyboard in your computer in your laptop? Are you working on a laptop?
No, it's like dual, like
It's a
laptop
it's a
plus
small laptop.
Android. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you working on Android?
Yes.
So can you install Blender on Android? I have never seen anybody do that.
Yeah, I could install it.
Oh, nice, nice. This is first time. This is the first for me. Thank you. All right. So and then I was talking about mouse. Mouse is something like this, and the button on the mouse here, right? The scroll wheel.
Ah,
Okay, that actually is a button.
okay.
Okay, you can press that. I mean, there is left click, there is right click, and there is middle click. Middle click. This is actually middle click. You can click on it. Okay, that's going to be very helpful in doing things, and you need that basically.
But sir, if there is
Oh,
no, what we need actually, you told numbers.
number pad. I'll tell you. I mean, there is only number pad can be optional.
Actually, in number part here, it is like along with the signs. Is that okay?
You mean to say this one, the top one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that will not work. But I'll tell you something. So can you see something over here before one down escape? There is a small icon which we don't know how to use. I mean, this one. Do you know this?
Yes.
Okay, that's called as tilde. Okay, that is called as tilde. And if you don't have the number keys, actually you can use that. I'll tell you how to use that.
Okay.
So it's fine. Okay.
Okay.
But yeah, for the next session or the session after the break, if you could get a number pad wala keyboard, that will be very good. That's very important. If you can't get it, it's okay. So if you can get an external keyboard from some other computer which is not working, then you can plug it to your computer and work. That's okay.
Okay. During break time, I'll search, sir.
Fine. Okay. All right. Now we going to start. By the way, this is created using CGI. Okay. This image is created using CGI. It does nothing like that. I mean, the glass, the pipes. Well, I can actually tell you like more about this. If you look at the glass is made using modeling, and this ropes, right? It is not possible to create ropes like this. So what I did is that I created the ropes and I allowed the glass to fell on the ropes so that it will entangle itself. That's simulation. Okay, so these nodes are created using simulation. Okay. Now we'll go to Blender, but before that I need to attend a call. I'll take 2 minutes. I'll come back in a second. Okay. You guys start your Blender. I'll come back in a second. All right. Sorry about that. So did you guys open your Blender? Okay. Just double click on that. It will open like this. Don't click anywhere else. Okay. If you clicked anywhere else, then close it and open it again, and just keep it like this. Okay. Everyone with me here? Anybody how difficult? Just give me a response. I mean, raise your hands or something if you are opened it, and if it is it's like this. If you cannot open the computer, then if you don't open the level, then we cannot do this. Okay, so you have opened this. Now this is called as the welcome screen. Okay, from this welcome screen, you can
நான் இங்க ஃபுல்லா
create
ரெக்கார்ட் பண்ணிட்டு
different
இருக்கேன்.
things.
ஸோ அதனால
Okay,
நான் பண்ண
you can
முடியாது.
create a general thing, just like
நீங்க பண்ணுங்க.
a normal blender, or you can create a blender for 2D animations. These are same things only. Can create a blender for sculpting, blender for video editing. Yeah, by the way, blender is a really good video editor. So if you guys don't have enough money to buy Premiere Pro or something, and you really want to edit your videos, you can use blender for that. So you can create different set of blender for that. But in essential, these are same blender softwares only, but it will give you options accordingly. So if you click on general, it will give you the same option. If you click on 2D animation, then it will give you the only those options which is useful for 2D animation, right? And if you click on sculpting, it will give you only those options which is useful for sculpting. And but doesn't matter wherever you open it, you can always find those options from here. But it will on the left side, you will have the recent files that you have created. That's also there, or else you can click it open. So from here, and from here on this side, it's made that this is the version 3.2.2. Does everybody have 3.2.2? Anybody have different versions? Does anybody have any other kind of image here other than this?
3.1.2.
3.1.2 is with you. Yeah, that's also 3.1.2 is well. Anything above below 3 is okay. If it is below 3, then probably I would ask you to update it. Okay. So you cannot update the Blender. You can have to uninstall and reinstall it again. That's a problem. So from here, I just click outside of this image, and that image will go. Okay. Now is the important part. If you want to kind of now just think now you're looking at the 3D. This is the 3D viewport. The what you look at here is the 3D viewport. Okay. In this 3D viewport, this green line is the Y direction. This red line is the X direction, and Z is always up, which is not denoted by a line here, but this is up. Now, the same thing is given here also. Can you see the gizmos here? Yeah. So, it's a direction, X direction, Y direction. Now, first of all, I'll not do anything. I'll just let you know how to move, how to walk in Blender. Okay. To do that, first you need to kind of press your middle button on the mouse, middle button, and drag. So what's happening when you do that?
It's rotating.
It's rotating. Okay. So middle button press, middle button will rotate it. Now, shift middle button. Just click on shift. Hold shift and middle button and drag it. What will happen? Okay, it's moving. It's panning, basically. It's panning. Okay, you can pan into any direction. Okay. Yeah. Scroll in. We can zoom. So when you scroll in, you can zoom. Can you? Okay. So how will you rotate? Middle button to rotate. Shift middle button to move. Scroll into zoom. Right. Everybody with me here? Now, what I have done here is that I haven't moved the object, but instead assume that this cube over here is my computer. I am not moving the computer. I am just moving like this. Okay. when you are rotating it, you are rotating the viewport. You are not moving the subject over there. You understand that? Okay. So when you kind of middle click and rotate, you are rotating the viewport. You are looking at the same thing from the different area. So if you look at the this is a camera, this is a light, this is an object. This is a basic, ultra basic Blender scene. Okay. Now you are not changing the distance between any of these things. Instead, you are just looking it around. Right. So, yeah, Shanti. Nishanti couldn't move. Okay. Do you have a middle mouse button?
Maybe you can unmute yourself, Nishant.
Yeah.
Please, I mean, feel free to speak. Then it'll be easier because it's a workshop.
You don't have a middle mouse. Do you have a scroll wheel in your mouse? I mean, most of the mouse have a scroll wheel, right? Is there any mouse without a scroll wheel? Are you using a Mac?
Sir, I also couldn't move. Even
Okay,
me having the center button.
Couldn't move. Okay. Okay. And now, have you clicked on the center button?
Yes, sir.
Keep clicking on it and then trying to move it. It's like clicking and dragging, like that.
Okay.
Can you do that, Nishant, now? It's like just like you click and drag, right? I mean, if you're working on something on a website or something, then you will click and drag like this. You click and drag like this. Just like that, you click your middle mouse and drag. Can you do that now?
No, sir, I couldn't. Is there anything to start working or any other button to start with?
No, you don't have to do anything. I mean, this is very okay. What is your system? Is it what kind of system that you're using? Is it do you know what's the memory of that? Is something like that, or Lenovo iPad ThinkPad? Okay. Is the mouse working? First of all, 8 GB RAM. That's fine. So is the mouse working? Yes, mouse is working, and the mouse have a scroll wheel, and still it is not moving. I don't know why it is happening that way, because you don't really have to do anything else. You just want to do that. It should move. Can you zoom in and zoom out? At least is it working that way, like this? You can zoom in and zoom out. Okay, then most probably only explanation that I can think about now is that okay, you can scroll in and out. So only the explanation that I can think is that you don't have a middle button click in your mouse. Probably try changing the mouse. Okay, then it should work. Okay, same like the other girl also. Try changing that one, then probably it will work. That could be the reason. Not all the mouse might have it. Okay, what I was telling, what I was telling Nishantini is that, okay, Ashra, can you scroll in like this? Can you scroll in and scroll out?
For scrolling, what icon I have to press?
Scroll. Can you scroll in like this and scroll out? I mean, just scroll the mouse.
Yeah, it's
You
working.
can do that.
Yeah.
It's working. But when you click on the middle mouse and drag it, it is not rotating.
Yes.
Is it rotating now?
Let me check.
Click on the middle mouse and no. Then most probably you have to change your mouse.
Okay. Let me
All right.
check.
Then most probably you have to change your mouse. That's only. Right. Okay. So I think like other than those two people, everybody is comfortable with moving around. Okay. Now this is like learning to walk.
Sir, excuse me.
Yeah, Ashwini.
Am I audible? Yes.
Yeah, you are.
Sir, I'm able to move the cube around, but when I'm scrolling in, it's not zooming in and zooming out.
That's I think probably you can like exchange your mouse.
Yes, sir. Now it's working. When I
Okay, I'll try changing it.
another mouse, it's working now.
It's working right now. Yeah, I mean most of now that's the
Yeah, I think that could be the main problem. I mean, the change of mouse would.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes the middle scroll button may not have a click button. So I think that could be one reason.
That's
Okay. Maybe they can change the mouse and just give it right.
So if it is not scrolling, then is there any other way to scrolling? No. Yeah. You can do this. The person who was not able to scroll, you can click your middle mouse button, hold Control and drag. It will also do a zooming in and zoom out animation. And it is
Yes, sir. Yes, got it.
yeah, manage it. But if you can change your mouse and do the scroll wheel, that's better. That's always
Okay. Okay.
or else you can do two finger on your mouse trackpad if you are using a laptop. That will also zoom in and zoom out.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Now, this is as I told you. This is like learning to walk. Okay. When you walk for the first time, when my kid is walking now, and when he is walking, it's so disorienting that he doesn't know where to go. I mean, he'll look at there and try to walk here, and he'll feel down. That's how we all work, right? I mean, that's what that's kind of a used to is needed for this 3D navigation also. You have to kind of do a little bit of thing. And what I would suggest is that I will only put only ultra basic thing in this 2 hour session, and I want you guys to practice that. Just move around on different places like this. Just go randomly on different places like this. Okay, all that. Okay, now okay. Now everybody please come back to the original position like this. Can you do that? Can you come back to the default position? You already come back to this position now? Well, I assume that you have already done. So now what you are looking at is a perspective view. Okay, because there is a perspective. So this is look at here. This is called as user perspective view. Okay. Which means that we are looking at with a perspective. So you can see these two sides of the cube. You can see the little bit of top. You can see the grids are going to the infinity. So you are looking at something with a perspective. Now, if you click on number pad 1, which is number pad 1 here, what happens? You will tell. Just tell me what happens.
Becomes 2D.
The view changes to front orthographic.
2D.
Now we are looking at the cube from the front. It's not 2D, it's 3D. Still it is there. Now if you look at the axis, now you are looking at red, which is x-axis here, and z-axis here. You are looking down from the x-axis. You're looking directly to the y-axis. That's why you are not seeing the y-axis. Okay, so you are standing in front of the cube. When you press 2, okay, 1, not 2. So when you click 1, you go to front orthographic, and when you press 3, it's go to right orthographic. Now you are looking at the right side of, right? For example, so this is how it is like, right? This is how it is. Now this y direction is facing the computer like this. So this is the front side. This is the back side. This is the top side. This is the bottom side. Okay. Now, when you press 1, you are looking at to the y-axis, which means that you are looking at front. When you press 3, you are looking at to the side. Okay. And what you want to, so this is right orthographic. If you want to go left orthographic, doesn't matter which way you are, you just want to press 9, it will go to the back side of you. If you are in front orthographic by pressing 1 and you press 9, it go back to the back side. So camera is here, now camera is here. Okay. If you are on 3, you are on right orthographics, and then you press 9, it will go to left orthographic. Now camera kind of flips to the other side. Right. So this is how easily you can look at 4 different sides of one object. You can always move around like this. Okay. But when you move around, it's so difficult to kind of place things in 3D object, because if you place something here, you are seeing only this 2 axis. You don't know how that image will work on this axis. You are not able to sense that depth. That's the disorientation I was telling you before. So for example, if I kind of keep this here, then I know that this is about 15 centimeter from my eyes, about 30 centimeter from the monitor, and about a meter from the wall. Okay. But when you are looking in a 3D, 2D monitor and you are trying to guess it, it will not work. Okay, so it doesn't matter how experienced you are, you always want to work. If you are editing something, you are always want to work at either front orthographic, back orthographic, or right orthographic, or left orthographic. Get it? Okay, so till now it's very important. If you are not able to walk, then we cannot run. Till now, you guys, anybody have any doubt?
Sir,
Like-
numbers, when I don't have
Numbers, yes. Try pressing the tilde button.
Okay.
What happens? Do you see this?
One second. Yes.
You see that, right?
Huh.
Now you know what to do. If you want to go to front, select print. When you keep pressing this, this is called as a pie menu. Okay, this is called as a pie menu. This pie menu will be like because this is a pie and there are so many things here. So that's a pie menu. And there are lot of different kind of pie menus in Blender. Okay. So is the easy way is to do 1, 3 and everything and memorize that. If you don't have that, then keep pressing the tilde key and select what you want to select. Even if you want to go to top view, we can do that. Right. So yeah, I told you, I forgot to tell you. So using the number key, if you press 9, it will do 7, it will take you to the top view. So 1 for the right view, front view, 3 for the side view, top for the 7 for the top view, and doesn't matter whichever way you are, press 9 to go to the opposite side of that view. So if you are on 7 on top view and you press 9, it will take you bottom view. Okay. All good here.
So it's like 1 opposite is 9, 3 opposite is 9, 7 opposite is 9.
Yes. Yes, exactly. 9 is opposite to anything. All right. Okay. So if you don't have that, use the tilde and
Ma'am, சொல்லுங்க.
the thing, and then just
வருமே.
use it. Okay. All right. Now there is one another important that. Okay, I'll come to that. That's not relevant now. Fine. Now, everybody clear with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that's great. Now we are just looking at this cube from different directions, right? The cube is சுத்தி பார்த்துட்டு இருந்தோம். Now we want to move that cube. How will you do that? How will you move that cube? So now before going that, I will just introduce to the layout of it. Okay, there are so many menus over here. Okay, you have a layout, you have a modeling, you have sculpting, UV editing, texture paint, shading, animation, rendering, compositing, geometry nodes, and scripting. All those things are the same things. Okay, for example, like if you are modeling on something, then you need a certain amount of tools to model. Okay, you need a different amount of tools for sculpting. So these are workspaces. Okay, these the one that you are seeing here are workspaces. It will not change anything in your computer, anything in any object that you have put here, but it will just change the amount of things that you have here. For example, just look here. Okay, on this side, just can you guys see my cursor? Okay, cool. Just look
Yes,
at
sir.
here.
But one
Yeah.
second, sir. Actually, what is this back position? In which position we have to come back?
No, I mean, okay, yeah. Now you are in back position. You don't know how to come back from here, right?
Yeah.
That's what you said.
Like I want to take exactly what you have kept.
Okay.
So which is
Just
this? Which are the phases I am seeing? I'm not.
yeah. Just figure out which are the faces that you are seeing. So look at the lines. What are the lines that you are seeing here?
Okay.
No, she's asking if there is
There is
any reset button or something. Am I right?
no, there is no reset button. There is no reset button as the local view, local view perspective, frame hold. There is a frame
Is
hold
this
button, but
front?
huh?
Is this front view? No, right?
It's not front view. So I'll tell you. You have to always come back to this position by pressing 4. Just try pressing 4. What happened?
Left.
Okay. Are you in the same position like this?
But yours is red and yellow. Mine is blue and yellow.
Your is blue and yellow. Okay, go to 1. Go to 1. Okay. You will go to front orthograph.
Yes. Now it's
Okay. And then you just want to kind of move this like this. I mean, use the middle mouse option and rotate it to move. I mean, but it doesn't matter from whatever view you are in. I mean, from 7 top view also, you can always do this. You can always kind of circle around and come like this. Okay, doesn't matter where you are in the same view as I am. It's always fine. It's okay. But unfortunately, there is no reset view button. But if you think about that, that doesn't make sense because you can always come back to any view that you want. Okay. So and this is different. I mean, also you are not going to render this view. You are going to render what you are seeing through this camera. That's a completely different. I'll come to that later. I haven't touched camera yet. I'll come to that later. Okay. Now, all those things. I mean, just think about all these tools here. There are so many tools. I'll tell you what are these tools are. That leave it for now. When you go to layout to sculpting, okay, all those things changes, right? Here also things changes, but doesn't change here. I have to do something over here to change. But all those things here changed here. Workspace change, all those things. So what basically what they are doing is that they are giving me enough tools to sculpt. It doesn't matter. I mean, I have never used any of these things at all. You can always go work in layout and select your tool, whatever tools that you want here. Okay, that's up to you. I mean, you can experiment with that. Fine. Now this is your viewport that you have been navigating so far. This is your tools panel. All your tools will come here, just like Photoshop have a tool panel on the left side. This is your tool panel. Okay. This is your scene collection where this is called as property manager. No, this is called as layout manager, and this will have all the things which is in your things. For example, if I kind of duplicate this cubes several times, like this, I'll tell you how to duplicate cubes and everything several times. Then all these cubes will come here, right? These are basically just telling you what are the things which is in here. So when you have 50 or 60 different kind of items in here, then it's very useful to kind of, and also you can rename it. You just double click on it on the name, and you can rename it to duplicate cube. This is also very important because if you don't duplicate, if you don't rename it, after a certain point of time, you won't be able to tell what is what. Okay. So again, another thing that I told you slightly before, I told you that you always have, if you're doing any kind of movements or any kind of editing, you always have to do in any kind of side or front view, right? Why is that? And I told you that with this thing, I showed an example also. I like how far it is and everything. Because I just moved these things, right? From this angle, it seems that everything is aligned over here. There's no issues. But look at this. If you go to front view, you know that, okay, it was not aligned. Because at this view, I don't have the view that I have created this before. I don't have a kind of understanding on how above on Z direction the other thing is here. It is very difficult to gauge it. For example, if I want to move this to on here, then I don't know how height is this, or I don't know how far this is on this X dimension, because it's very difficult to gauge from this angle. So if you go to one particular view and then move it, then you know exactly where you are placing. Right. So that's why you always want to work on 2D angles and then come back to 3D angle and see if everything is right. Okay, I'll play. Okay. Now, okay, that's it. That this is your screen color. All your things and everything will be here. And actually, you can make collections and groups and folders and everything here to organize it better. Okay. And from here, you have two small icons. Okay. If you click on the icon of I, this will hide it from the viewport. If you click on this cube, it will hide it from the viewport. For some reason, you want to hide something from the viewport, assume that there are so many other things that you are not able to concentrate on one particular thing. If you want to hide everything else and work only on one thing, you can do that. Hide it. The other one is a camera. That's like a disabled render. Like, I mean, you want that to be in your thing, but you don't need that to be rendered. So that in that case, this is like this can be useful there. Okay. Okay. So yeah, that's the thing. And there are other filters also, but we'll all go to that later. Now, the panel here is your property manager. Okay. So when I was telling you about, we will give all the values for that to be transparent. We will do all the calculation for that to be transparent. That is happening here. Okay. So and here also, if you look at the small strip of icons over here, okay, this is an expansion of these icons. For example, if you click on this orange square here, it's give you all the information of this cube that you have selected. Okay, I'll just put a circle also here, just for now you have a sphere also. Now you just when you click on sphere, see it changes to sphere, and it tells you where the location is. Its location is on Y direction. It's on 4 meter. So this is the origin. Where exactly this line converges is the origin, and from the origin, this is 4 meter away on Y direction. I can always change here and move the thing. See, if I want to kind of move this on Z direction, I can move this here. If you want to be precise, then you can input your values here. Okay, and also that goes with the same for rotation. But for a sphere, rotation doesn't matter. If you click on the cube, you see that everything is changed for the cube, right? So now, if you kind of move this to the Y, you can move that. You can move this on Z axis. You can move on N axis. You can move it on any axis you want. Okay. And also for rotation, if there's a Y rotation, it will rotate on Y axis. It's rotating on Y axis. It can rotate on X axis, and it can also rotate on Z axis. This is the scale. We can increase the scale on Y axis. We can increase the scale on Z axis. We can increase the scale on Z axis. All that can be done. Okay. But this is not how we usually move things around. I'm just telling that there is an option available like this, which you can move. Okay. So yeah, when you click here, it will, and if you are here, click here and click in this particular yellow square, it will give you all the properties of that cube. Okay. So it doesn't, if you are not sure about something, you just keep your cursor above it, it will give you the name of that thing. Now here, this is the object properties. Now here, if you click on this film strip here, it gives you output properties. So it's like what exactly you want to, on what size image that you want, what frame rate you want, all these things, what kind of a file you want a JPEG or a PNG or something, all those things are out here. But we will come to that later. I mean, this is important when you are in that. I'm just telling you that each of these things, this is a render property, this is an output property, this is a scene property, okay, and this is scene property, and this is view layer properties. All those things are here. And here it is material properties. Here it is, if you click on material properties, there are so many things. You can see what is the base color of that material, what is a subsurface, how much roughness it should have, how much transparency it should have, how much transmission it should have. Everything is over here. Okay, all those things comes when we are doing materials. We will come back to that later. Here, this is physics properties. Physics is where we are saying collisions or like or any kind of physical properties. I was talking about stimulations, right? All this will come here. Okay, and then there is particles, there is modifiers. All those things we will come back later. Then there is texture. Everything is there. So if you click on any of these things, it will give you all the settings in this panel. So this is your properties panel. Okay. Now here, if you kind of click here, just look at when wherever you have intersection of two panels. For example, here is an intersection of this property panel and your this thing. You can keep your mouse exactly in between, and your mouse cursor will turn into a 2 arrow. Can you see that? Click on that and drag. You can drag it. You can make, if you want more space on this, you can do that. Okay. If you want more space on here, you can do that. Okay. Also, now you are looking at this in this perspective view from this angle. What if you want to see all the 4 angles at the same time? I mean, front view. So you are working on something on the front view, but you want to see this angle also at the same time. For that, you can always come here, right click your mouse, and gives you different option to split. So if I take vertical split, it will give me a line here, and I can keep this line anywhere. It will split my viewport to 2. So now here I can have it in front view, and here I can have it in this view. So I can clearly see where I am moving things to. See? Okay. So I'll show you more. Do the same here on the bottom. Come here, do a horizontal split, and keep it here. Now, and go 3 here. Now you are looking at right view here, front view here, and your orthographic view here. See, all these are possible. Blender can be customized into any way that you like, and you can save this also. From the next time you open it, you don't have to do this again. So probably you will go to your window, not window. it was somewhere. I forgot. I found it. I'll tell you. But you can kind of save this workflow also, this thing also as a new layout. Okay, so like art workspace, any workplace that you can duplicate, any workplace you can take it and you can kind of save this as a workspace. We can do that also, but that's not important. You can always do this. I always do this based for if I want something to be, if I simultaneously want want me to look at side view and the top view at the same time, so that I can clearly see the what are the edits that I am doing, then I'll do this. So how this is all good, but how you go back to the previous one? Control Z will not undo anything. Okay, Control Z will not undo this. Instead, what you want to do, that you want to do the same thing. Keep your mouse this thing here, right click, join areas. So it will give you an arrow. It is asking you, do you want to join this area to this area or this area to this area? If I click here, it joins these two together. And also right here, join areas. It's asking me where I have to join this one here or this one here. I click here, so it joins here. Okay. So this is how we can join areas and open areas. All right. Okay. So yeah, this is all about viewport and everything. All right. So and I knew that you had a break like 30 minutes before. I thought that I didn't want to break the chain. So if you want to take a break now, probably you can take a break and come back in 10 minutes, 5 minutes or something.
Yeah, we can take by
Unless
11:10.
you don't have any doubts.
11:10 we can come back, or 11:15.
Yeah, 11:10. 11:10 you can come back. Okay. Unless you don't have any doubts. I mean, when you come back also, you can ask me any doubts.
Yeah, I think if anybody has doubts, they can feel free.
Sure. Okay. All right. I'm just stop sharing and I will be here, but I'm not logging off. Okay. I should. That's right. That's better. Right? We don't better don't log off. We will put on mutes and go and come back.
Yeah, we can go.